do you remember when you were like 10, 12 years old or 15, let's say, and basically everywhere you go, everyone is older than you, right? Like you go to the supermarket and everybody's an adult, your parents are home, adults, your parents' friends, adult, and other than your few friends that you might have, uh, everyone is an adult and everyone looks old to you, right? Even someone in your 20s, he comes and tell you something, or you look at them and you're like, oh, what is these old people is talking to me, right? And then you have all these ideas of things that you want to be when you become old, right? Like you become your parents' age. I mean, maybe you're lucky and you have very young parents, maybe not. But I remember those days, and when they ask us, "Hey, Fernando, what do you want to do when you grow old, when you grow up?" I don't remember. I said like a bunch of stupid stuff. I wanted to be, of course, we always want to be like a cop, like a pilot. I remember one day I said I want to be millionaire because I think I was watching like the Wheel of Fortune or something like that, and I said I want to be millionaire, and then the teacher saying you can't be millionaire, and for me I didn't have the idea of the concept of I mean millionaire. I just know one who has a lot of money and has cars and toys and something, but I didn't know that, or I didn't put too much attention that you have to be a teacher, or you have to be a cop, or you have to be, I don't know, something to make money and then maybe be millionaire. Well, funny thing, fast forward, now I'm 45. 2 days ago, I turned 45, March the 23rd. And how does it feel to be 45? Lucky for me, I feel pretty good. I feel solid. I think I've had a good life, cannot complain. I know that sometimes physically speaking, I'm not as strong as before, but I feel good. I can say that my peak on my gym and workout and all these things, physically speaking, I felt good after my 35s. So that's a good thing. But if we talk about other stuff in life, if we become more deep, let's say, 45 years old make me think about the things that I was doing when I was younger, right? And I remember that a lot of things that I'm doing now, it would never cross my mind that I would be doing it now. So one of the things that I was never crossing my mind is like working for a bank as an engineer. Because, as I say, I wanted to be millionaire, then I want to be a pilot, I want to be many things. I One of the things that I always thought, and I even told my friends, is that I wanted to be a hairdresser. One day I said like maybe I should be a hairdresser. I like to do use my things. I like arts, I like sports, I like music. At the end, I became an engineer, but it's pretty good. But that's something that I would never guess when I was younger. When I was in my 20s, choosing my university. Yeah, I started late a lot of things, and that's what brings me to the second point. Something that makes me feel at 45, or things that I think is like, I mean, if you, everybody says that you don't compare yourself to others, and I can say that I'm pretty good at it. I rarely feel bad about myself in comparison with others, but the comparison exists. And when you compare yourself to a certain degree to other people who might be better than you, is something healthy because it makes you want to be something more or achieve more things, right? So one of the things that I have seen in my 45 is like I wish a lot of the things that I started to do, I wish I have started them earlier. Like I think that in some cases I was wasting some time. Of course, if you put in perspective, maybe that's your, that's your pace, right? But sometimes I think you waste your time. You waste your time in a lot of things that don't add value. Of course, you don't know. Maybe your parents don't tell you. They don't have the time. Uh, Funny thing, I was listening to a podcast that someone was mentioned. Remember when you were like in university, and of course you have to study, but also you're like, let's say when your hormones start to pop up. Let's put a number 14, let's say from 14 to 20 somethings or to their 30s, the amount of time that you are wasting, let's say in air quotes, wasting on how to mate, how to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, just to fuck around, whatever you want to say it, or just to find a girlfriend. The amount of time that you spend going to the club or going to a place that you can see other people who are your age in order to see if you can meet the person or just be around. In my case, I was very shy, so of course things were very slow to me. But this guy in this podcast said the amount of time that you spend, the waste of time, instead of like maybe you should have put less effort in that and just go to study and or go find a job or do things that you like, that you enjoy. Maybe you are good at maybe riding a bike, and you become like a good in BMX, or maybe you become like a X Games professional skateboard. But no, you were like in your skateboard, but then most of the times you were spending time with your friends and looking for girlfriend or boyfriends. I'm not saying that that's everyone's uh, thing, but funny that this person mentioned about it, because if it feels like a, if you put it in that perspective, like a lot of waste of time. I mean, you could have used your time in I don't know, doing so many things. For example, I, as you guys know, in my youth, I started doing karate, and lucky for me, I spent a lot of time in karate instead of trying to find girls because I was not good at it. So good thing I was there, and I was not the best at school either. Good thing I was in karate. But I started when I was about 14 years old. What if I should have started earlier? Or I remember that when I was younger, I was in a piano lessons, and then I quit it because I didn't like it. But what if, for example, my mom has forced me a little bit to stay in the piano? Because now I wonder, oh man, if I should have stayed on the piano lessons, and then maybe you start liking it, maybe you are good at it, and then by now I'm 45, I would have been playing piano for, I don't know, now would be like, I don't know, 30 years, let's say. But let's say that I was very good. And since start playing piano at 10, maybe by 20 I was a prodigy of piano. And then maybe I went to art school. And then maybe I will be doing something that I like more than being an engineer working in a bank. Because to be honest, I think I'm good at it, at what I do. I enjoy being an engineer, but I don't enjoy 100% of the time what I do, because a lot of things, let's say the politics, working on in a corporation, and the the schedule, the salaries, the thing, like you're not actually doing what you love, and that's what everybody tells you, right? So I think that's one of the things. Like, you should stop wasting time when you since early times, because when you are young, you think you have the whole time in the world ahead of you. For you, the time goes so slow. I remember, for me, it was June, and it was like, I don't know, let's say midterms or whatever, and then you still have to go to the rest of the year until December, and you're like, oh man, 5 more months to finish school year, and for you it feels forever. But now at 45, it's like, I remember when I turned 40 here in Singapore, and I celebrated with my friends and whatnot, and boom, suddenly now I'm 45, and now I have my girls, my, can I say, my girlfriend, my wife, my partner, whatever you want to call. I have the two girls who are, yes, my two daughters. We can call it like that. I already took ownership of it, so yeah, and I'm happy. But well, when I see them, coming back to the point, sometimes I see them that they don't want to do this or they do that, or they just spend a lot of time on their phones scrolling, or in holidays they just want to stay home watching TV. Now I feel the pain of our parents back then. The difference is, back then, at least for me, there was not much to see on TV, so you just have to spend time with your friends. On the other hand, you just spend time doing nothing. just wasting time outside. Yeah, basically wasting time. Okay, maybe building some connections with your friends, you can call it. But yeah, most of the time, I think we were wasting time. So that's one of the things that I would like to maybe, I don't know, how can I say, explain to the young people that, you are not young forever. You don't have all the time ahead of you. I mean, you have some time, and it's okay to engage into things that you might change your mind, or maybe when you make a decision of, go to school, let's say, I don't know, law school, and then after 2, 3 years, you think it's not your thing, then I mean, you can quit it. Maybe better if you finish and then you start another one and you change career. But I mean, no, there's no harm on this. I started late again, as I say, but I think that's one of the things one of the things that I would say to people is stop wasting so much time. Let's say that's number one. Another thing that I can see in perspective at my 45 years old is don't spend too much money on things that have actually no value. There is a lot of things, and it would depend on the person to person that you talk to. One of the things that people, young professional, spend money that, I mean, it has value, but I think they shouldn't spend is on buying a house. Maybe on my mother's time, people who are like 70s and those age or even older people. But for my generation, 45s and younger, uh, I don't think it is worth to buy. At least economies like in Costa Rica, that your salaries are not the best. And the banks want to charge you super high rates. I don't think you should buy a house. I mean, one of the things that you learn in school when you go to math, calculus, let's say finance 101, don't spend more money than you make. Don't spend things that you can afford. So, I mean, I understand the bank can give you a loan, but if you make X amount of money per month, and let's say the house is you need $100,000 for the house, and in your bank account you just have 5,000, and then you make like a very small money. Let's say you make $1,000 per month. Even if the bank loan you money, why will you spend that? And people say because it's an investment, because here, because that. It's a waste of money. You'll be paying interest for a long time. You put your money in something that you cannot get away from a long time, so your money is locked there. It ties you to a place that you cannot move. And I also tell people to move around, to go to another country, to get a job in another place. If you live in a big country, go to another state or move to another province or just travel around. I mean, if you don't know what to do, and let's say your parents can send you to your uncle who lives in the other side of the world, just take the word and go. That's something that you need to do instead of trying to get a job, buy a house, buy a car, then find yourself a girlfriend, have kids, and then you have to a debt for a car, a debt for the house, and then you start saying that the kids are so expensive. Of course, you think they're expensive because you want to give them an expensive life. But a lot of the kids, they don't need expensive stuff. It's like you want to give them expensive stuff because maybe you want them when you were young. Do you want to bring them to a good school that is expensive? Sure. Do they need it? Well, it depends how much money you make. So that's what I mean when I say, I mean, don't spend so much money on things that they have no value, or don't spend money in things that you can't afford. That's number two. Maybe I could say about number three is don't be afraid of being heartbroken. And why I say this is because when you were young, maybe sometimes you get in a relationship too young. What do you know about life when you're young? You don't know about much. I'm 45 years old now, and I still feel kind of lost in some stuff. But I know a thing or two about life now. So I know that, let's say in your 20s, you have this girl that you like or this boy that you like, and then you broke up by any reason. They did something bad to you or vice versa, someone break your heart or you break someone's heart, and then you want to protect yourself. So it feels that you don't, you think too much about getting a new partner or getting to a new relationship or even meeting and making friends, meeting new people and making friends, right? It's not that you also have to just jump from one boyfriend to another one. I don't mean that either. But sometimes I have met people, let's say in my 30s or in my 40s, that I have find, for example, I met nice ladies through the dating apps, and they haven't had a relationship for years. Then after a while, I can see how they have some red flags here and there. I'm not perfect either, but I can see how they close themselves in one thing and they push away in another, other ways people because how the things that they think about themselves or the things that they think about the other person should be. So they close themselves too much and they don't allow themselves to bring someone else and try to, to have someone next to you because that's what I think. I think you should be able to spend time with someone regardless if you find it when you're young or when you're old. But in my experience, um, sometimes things in life make more meaning when you have people to share with. It doesn't need to be a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a wife. Could be friends. Could be I don't know, your parents. Can be your brothers and sisters. But most of the time is you have to make your own family, right? You come from a family. You have parents. You have siblings. You grow up. You have to make your own family in any way that you think. So I have learned that uh, life is more meaningful if you have it someone that you can share with your money, your time, your experiences, the things that you like to do, like let's say gym stuff, or like sometimes you just want to talk to people about your wins. Let's say that you did something pretty good at work, and then they give you a very good, I know your boss congratulate you. Then you want to share with who? What if you don't have anyone around? So I would say that that's a that's the important thing. Find yourself someone that you can be with. Of course, hopefully it goes with all your standards, but remember you have to give some room for the other person to be because you are not perfect either. Anyway, let's not make this longer than necessary. What is my final thoughts? At 45, I'm pretty happy, even if I feel that I was behind or I'm still behind in a lot of things. What can I do now? I just need to catch up, figure out how. But yeah, that's some of the regrets you can say. Start to do things earlier and try to not waste too much time and find someone next to you that you can share things with. I think that's a good thing. But I'm pretty happy with my life. I'm pretty happy with my girls, with my job. Nothing is perfect. I want to retire soon. Of course, I need to make more money and other things, but I think I'm pretty complete now. Of course, I still want a lot of things. Still need to figure out some others, but I'm saying I'm pretty good. I'm super lucky. I think I've worked purposely for something and unconsciously as well. So yeah, I think everything's pretty good, and life is not over yet. So I keep moving, try to find some meaning in life later in life, not that not that young, and I don't know, be grateful. And again, I'm not an expert on these things, but I just wanted to have my 20 minutes of fame with you guys, with my 3, 4 listeners, maybe this time. Let's make it 6. Before closing, I was just listening to the podcast and I start thinking, what could be a goal for me doing this podcast other than sharing my stuff, making maybe every day, every week, make it more professional, make it more valuable for people who are listening or watching. Maybe I can monetize it as well. Why not? But one of the goals is like to be in Joe Rogan's podcast. That would be great because if you see Joe Rogan, he brings people that he find interesting. But most of the people that he finds interesting, of course, are things that he likes. A lot of MMA fighters and stuff like that. But also he brings a lot of actors and producers and people from Hollywood and some politicians and what else? And sports people, and it's mainly things like that. Directors and some sort of influencers in certain domains, like people who are famous in a podcast, like the guy from More Plates, More Dates, and things like that. But someone mundane like me that have a normal life, a regular job with my family, with my problems, with my stuff, not the director. I'm just an engineer that like to make podcasts and like to train and like martial arts. But what do I need to do in order to be in Joe Rogan podcast and being there? What would be the conversation about? Right? Because let's say I'm pretty average, random. So might that be a cool podcast? Because as you see, like everyone who goes there it has something. Like even the president of the United States were there and Elon Musk. So you know where I'm going. So yeah, let's aim to be in Joe Rogan podcast. Okay, talk to you later.